Now, Razer just announced the Atrox for the Xbox One during Evo. This is pretty much what you'll be getting when they do start the sell it. Selling price is $199.99. You can go to their website and you can click on buy, and you'll get a notification to send you an email when they do become available for purchase. So at the moment, you can't really buy this just now, unless I got my sources wrong or whatever. But as far as I know, you can get like an email, or you can like reserve it, I guess, like a reservation thing going on through their website. Now, what you see here says 2014 limited edition, because they're making a few of these. This one in particular was the one that they were giving away to the top 8 placers over at Evo for Killer Instinct. They also did, I guess it did like raffles or whatever, so they got a couple other people that were able to get their hands on a few of these. Now, they did release an Atrox for the Xbox 360, and this is pretty much the same shell. The only thing different about this is that the buttons, it's not starting to select as view and menu, which is what the buttons are on the Xbox One. And instead of the turbo rapid fire functions, you have a lock switch for the guide and the view and menu button on here. That's what this is for. I guess, missed this. Back here, you now have the lock. Like the screw lock mechanism for the USB cable, so that way you can't really pull this out. Which also, you can see back here that the TE2 has. Now, let's look inside this bad boy and see what we got to play with. Okay, so this is the inside of the Atrox. You have the diagram here for what color wire goes to what button. So when you're swapping out buttons, you're doing your modification, which wire goes to what button. You have your tool, your little mini toolkit here. You have a little slot for ball top, bat top. So this can go here. I removed this from a different fight stick, but I had it in this compartment. In here, this is where your cable would go, USB cable. You can also store like other items here, like I'm using this for my ball top, and this here, you can see the honeycomb pattern. This is for when you're adding another PCB in your, say for example, Cthulhu board or PS360 plus, so you can kind of screw them onto these honeycomb holes here that you have here. Makes it a lot easier for modding purposes. And check out the bottom. This is the rubber bottom for the non-skid. Great for surfaces. It's also great for if you're playing, if you're one of those players that likes to play in your lap. So I'm using one of these wooden TV stands, or whatever you want to call it, dinner stands I got from Walmart. But they're great for putting sticks on here, and these don't really move at all. It's a bit unsturdy because it's good legs, but as far as the stick goes, it doesn't really move. It's really sturdy construction. Compared to the inside of the TE2, let me go and open this guy. The difference here is the space. Now this also has storage for The tool has storage for extra push buttons, and then you have storage for the USB cable here. I should have left the other one open, but let me see if I can do that one-handed. Open this back up, show you something. Okay, so you see the amount of space in here, right? Now check out the amount of storage space in here. And zoom out or pull out to kind of show you the difference. Now, TE2 appears to have more space, right? Which it does. So, say you're traveling, you know, you have a Xbox One game, you know, Call of Duty, whatever. I'm going to use this my Tekken Tech Tournament 2 for the PS3. I'm just going to put it in there. So, you know, this fits a case in there pretty easily. Say we try to put an Xbox One game or another, you know, Blu-ray case in here, and it's not gonna fit. You know, so, and that's not gonna close. But for the TE2, you know, you can put your cable, you have your tool button, probably extra space for maybe wallet, you know, some I don't know, some match money in here, you know, and that closes, you know, so you plenty of space. So it has, this TE2 definitely has more storage space than the Atrox. But one thing that I do give the Atrox over the TE2 is the slip on the bottom. Now, this is more of a foam, you know, material. This is great when you're having it on your lap. It doesn't really, you know, slide around. But when you have it on, you know, certain surfaces, like for example this wooden surface, you know, it doesn't really quite, you know, stop me from moving. So, you know, kind of slides around. And I'm doing it, you know, one-handed. So when I was playing a couple times with my TE2 on here, I found myself, you know, ending up like this, you know, because sliding around. I've been playing on my Atrox for about 2 days now, or since I got back from Evo, and I haven't had any issues with this, you know, sliding off the stand or anything like that. So it's very durable, you know, very sturdy. This is sturdy too, but you know, I just don't like it, you know, to move around as much. Also feels that the lid doesn't really sit that flush as opposed to, you know, the Atrox. This is the Killer Instinct TE2. The new ones, I don't know if the structure is any different. I have heard that the top panel is a bit stronger. You know, this feels like you can kind of, with enough pressure, you can kind of crack it. That's what it feels like to me. But not so much with the Atrox. So that is pretty much it. You know, there's not much different in comparison to the Atrox. They're both great stick. They're both $200. The only thing that I would give the TE2, it has more storage space. The KI-TE2 has the LED lighting, which is not available on the Atrox or the new TE2s, the round 2s, whatever the proper name for the new TE2 5.6 are. And, you know, has a storage space. Well, I mentioned storage space, but I'm kind of repeating myself now because I'm doing this on a whim. And what I would give the Atrox is, you know, it's a bit more, you know, sturdy, and the rubber non-slip pad underneath, you know, which I really like. You know, so if you're kind of got your hands tied between the two, what it comes down to, I guess, is preference. You know, they're both great stick. the response. They're saying they both use the same, somewhat density parts. The OBSF, 30 millimeters and 24 millimeters for the start and select button. But that's pretty much it. So hopefully this will help a lot of you make a decision on what 5-stick to pick up whenever the Atrox does become available for purchase. So if you're tied between getting a TE2 or an Atrox, well, that's the difference. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Hit me up. And if you think this video could use any work or this helping way, you can also comment on that as well. All right, thanks. Bye.